Welcome back to Just Talking. We have a great guest for us today. We have Landon Tate Boyle, who's an actor from Kenosha. Landon, nice to see you today.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, let's start off. What high school did you go into in Kenosha?
I went to Tremper High School.
Okay. And then, so from there, is that where you got involved in theater productions, or where did that start?
Way back in elementary school at Forest Park Elementary, I did the after-school musicals there. I think we did them once a year in the spring. In fourth grade, I started, and I never stopped.
Do you remember what play that was, or back at Forest Park was, or what type of?
I think the first one was called The Best Little Theater in Town, and I played the director of like a struggling small town theater. And by the end of the show, the theater was saved and we had the money to keep going. And then fifth grade, I did Rats, the musical, which was the story of the Pied Piper.
Yeah, because middle school, I don't know if there's a lot of, was there much theater in there, or it may more like in high school, I would think, but let's hear it.
Middle school, I went to McKinley Middle School. I don't think they're around anymore. But my choir teacher at the time produced shows there for us. So I got to do some shows there, and I did KaiPak during the summer, which is where I actually did my first production of Wizard of Oz, I think when I was in sixth grade.
And then you said you went to Tremper and Tremper Productions.
Yeah, at the time, just kind of unified all of the theater programs. So it became the Kenosha Unified Theater Arts Program. I mostly did shows at Bradford with Holly Stanfield as my director. But I did go to Tremper. I did one show at Tremper, and then all my other high school career was doing shows at Bradford.
I would think, again, when you were working with Holly Stanfield, I mean, she's just a master at her craft. What did you learn from Holly Stanfield?
The biggest thing, and she probably still says this to the students that she directs, is happiness is a choice. You can always choose to be happy, choose to see the bright side of things. And that stuck with me a lot. Also, some of the fun times we had. We got to go to the International Thespian Festival every summer. We had to kind of audition for it. An adjudicator would come and watch our show, and they would invite us out there to do productions. But we did some really incredible theater at Bradford when I was in high school.
So what year did you graduate at Tremper?
2013.
2013. Okay, so you've got all this massive experience and knowledge in the acting profession. Then from there, did you go to a college to learn more about theater? Let's hear about that.
Yeah, I did. I went to Webster University in St. Louis. They have a theater arts conservatory. So I got a BFA in acting. I spent 4 years really intensely studying acting, voice, movement, all the things in theater. I took dance, I took circus classes, took clown, took mime, and it really set me up. And then as soon as I graduated in 2017, I moved to New York.
You did productions there as well, and which ones were they?
Yeah, I did. So freshman year, you're not allowed to be cast in shows. They just want you to focus on studying and building up your tool belt, as they would say. But I did 1 to 2 shows every year. They're also partnered with the St. Louis Rep, which uses the theater on campus. So I got to do a few productions with them as well, earning some EMC points, which is how you get into the Actors Union called Actors Equity. So I got to do that and start building my resume, meeting a lot of great directors. A few of them have hired me many times since college. So it's great networking too.
And then when you make now the leap to New York, you're really engulfed with
Yeah.
the theater scene. I
Yeah.
mean, let's hear about your experiences in New York.
New York is a crazy place, especially as a young adult moving out there. It's a big hustle. You got to get yourself out there. You got to do the work. Some days it's really early showing up to stand in a line to sign up to maybe get into the room to audition. Standing outside at 5 a.m. and the audition doesn't start until 10. just to try and get on the list. But it's all part of the experience of being an actor and going to New York. And I was fortunate enough to book a few shows. I've worked out at Utah Shakespeare Festival a few times, um, Syracuse Stage up in Syracuse, New York, Alabama Shakespeare Festival. I've been all over the country at this point.
The audition process, what goes on in audition? Let's say they call you up or they message you or email, however they do it.
Mhm.
What's the audition?
Well, when you find a show that you want to audition for, when you're in the union, you can sign up online for an audition slot. But when you're not in the union, it's kind of a first come, first serve. You got to get there and get your name on the list. But once you get the audition slot, you bring your headshot, your resume, go to the room. Whoever, I lost the word for the monitor, who sits outside of the room, making sure everything stays in order. They will let you into the room. Sometimes they'll announce your name as you walk in, sometimes not. And you'll walk into an empty room with a table. You'll have a casting director, a director, maybe a producer, some associates, maybe. And you just do your monologue, maybe sing a song. Or if you're at a dance call, they might have you step forward, say your name, do a double pirouette, and then step back. And then they will cut you based on looks sometimes, if you're not just visually what they're looking for. Um, but after that initial step, you'll get a callback if they like you. And at that point, generally, they'll give you material from whatever show you're doing to prepare and get ready with. And then you'll come back into the room, do some of that stuff. They might give you some adjustments, work with you to see if they can pull out what they're really looking for. And sometimes you get several callbacks, like 5, 6 callbacks for one show, until you get down to like the final 2 or 3 people before they make their choice. And then you just hope to get that email to say that you're cast. And some theaters are pretty good about telling you no, but a lot of times you just don't hear anything.
Your favorite Shakespeare play that you either perform or you haven't performed?
Ooh, my favorite. It's tough. There's so many. My favorite comedy would be Much Ado About Nothing, but I think overall my favorite is probably Macbeth.
You said you were in New York till 2020. Is that
Mhm.
correct? Okay, and then you went to Denver.
Then I went to Denver for 5 years, and I just recently moved to Chicago.
Okay, let's talk about the Chicago scene.
Chicago, it's very recent. I moved there end of September of last year.
Okay.
Very new for me. I haven't done anything out there yet, just been auditioning for stuff. Um, and now I'm in Minnesota doing a show. I'll be back in Chicago for the summer, but then I'm leaving again in September for 6 months to come back to Minnesota to do another show. So I don't know when I'll get to do my first show in Chicago, but hopefully soon.
Well, let's talk about this Minnesota show. I got a press release, The Wizard of Oz. I mean, that's just amazing. Let's hear about the Wizard of Oz that's going on now.
So I'm at the Children's Theater Company in Minneapolis, and it's going to be a really cool production. We have 2 teenage Dorothys who are sharing the part, and a full ensemble of professional adults and children in the show, along with my 2 pups that I brought with me to play our Totos. This is going to be my 3rd professional production of Wizard of Oz. I just did a production of Wizard of Oz last summer at Alabama Shakespeare Festival with these same 2 dogs, actually, which is how I got into my current position as the dog handler for the show.
And what goes on with the dog handler behind the scenes?
It's really about, first of all, making sure everything that the dogs are doing and everything around them is safe for them, to make sure that they're comfortable and able to do their job fully. And then a lot of it is backstage stuff, tracking them from each side of the stage, making sure the right character brings them on, making sure they do their tricks correctly. If they're supposed to sit and stay and the actor on stage walks away from them, they might look off stage at me in the wings when I'm holding my hand, say, stay, good job, stay there. Um, but it's really just a fun time.
What's the difference between a dog handler and a dog trainer? Is there like are you the trainer or is there another train? Because how does that work?
So the company I work for is called Bill Berloni Theatrical Animals, and Bill Berloni Tony-winning dog trainer. He rescues dogs from all over the country, trains them for specific shows, and then I come in after they've already been trained and take them around to different theaters. The dogs already know what they're supposed to be doing, and my job is to basically let the dogs bond with their new actor friends, show them they're good people, they got treats to give you, they're going to give you some love and attention. And once the dogs bond with them, they're just there to they want to do the tricks because they know it makes the person happy, and then they also get treats when they do it. So it's pretty easy, honestly. The dogs want to do it. They like performing. They love the spotlight. They get really kind of jittery and anxious before the shows because they're so excited to perform.
What would you say is difference from this Wizard of Oz production than other productions? Is there anything that we can talk about, whether it's set design or story?
The costumes honestly are really incredible. I haven't seen any of them in person, but the designs are fantastic. They start in kind of a sepia tone, tans and beiges in the beginning. They get to the land of Oz and everything's bright and colorful. And then when we go back to Kansas, they kind of blend the two together. So, for instance, like Dorothy will go from her kind of beige gingham dress to the blue to a green dress at the end. The Lion and the Tin Man and the Scarecrow pull pieces of their Oz costumes as those characters back into their farmhands at the end of the show. It's going to be very bright Technicolor, lots of special effects, and it's a little bit of a shortened version because it's mainly for families and children. So it's going to be a little under 2 hours, I think. But we're doing 9 to 10 shows a week, so we got a lot of shows ahead of us.
Can you highlight when that will be, when the production, if anybody would like to go see this production at the Wizard of Oz?
Yeah, the production opens April 21st, and currently we're slated to close the second week of June with a possible extension to the third week of June.
If people want to get tickets, is the website up, or where is there like to learn more about the Wizard of Oz production?
It's childrenstheatercompany.org.
Since you do a lot of acting behind the scenes, have you ever stepped up to do like a directing of a production or anything, or does that interest you at all?
It definitely does. I took directing in college, and this past summer, The Wizard of Oz I was actually the assistant director for the show. But that was my first professional kind of directorial but I definitely have a leadership role in theater many times. I've been the dance captain, fight captain, flight captain for many shows. I have a pretty good eye for keeping things consistent and making sure things are safe and running smoothly.
Those for that haven't been to a stage production, why should someone go out to a theater production, whether it's a musical or a play or a children's theater?
Theater is much different than watching TV, watching a movie. You're right there in the room with the actors. You can hear them breathing, you can feel them, the energy that they're giving off, and they live off of the audience. The energy that the audience gives back to them is going to inform how they're performing a lot of the time. If the audience is quiet, they might get a little quieter themselves, or they might try and ramp it up to get the audience more engaged. And same with if the audience is really loving the show, the actor might notch it up just a little bit and give them a little bit more to make them love it even more.
Now, do you have a social media presence or anything that we can see what productions that you would be anything? Do
You can follow me on Instagram at Landon_Tate.
And I guess I'm sure a lot of what's on viewers' mind is, do you ever come back to Kenosha?
Oh, all the time. My parents still live in Kenosha, especially now living in Chicago. I drive up all the time to see them. And so my dog can hang out with their dog. They're pretty good friends. But yeah, I've been back to Kenosha many times.
Excellent. Well, to prove that you're Kenoshan, the Spot or the Big Star?
I have to say Big Star because I spent so much time at Bradford doing shows, and it's right down the road there.
Well, Landon, it was absolutely terrific talking with you today. We encourage people to go out to see the Wizard of Oz production and any production that you're in as well. So, Landon Tate Boyle, thank you so much for talking with us today, and we'll look forward to more of your work.
Awesome. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.